Hello and welcome to the new style Edexcel GCSEs. These are the ones that go from grades 9 through to grade 1. This is paper 1 MA1/1H. It's the first paper in the higher tier. It's a non-calculator paper and we're picking up in question 9. Work out the value of 9 times 10 to the power negative 4 multiplied by 3 times 10 to the power 7. Give your answer in standard form. Okay, so standard form, we have a coefficient which we can call A, and A must be equal to or greater than 1, and it must be less than 10. It cannot be 10 or higher. So this then is multiplied by a base, which in standard form has to be base 10, and that's raised to the power of an index. So it's A times 10 to the power n is standard form, where A is between 1 and 10, but equal to 1 but less than 10, equal to or greater than 1 and less than 10. Okay, so let's start off with our multiplications here. Everything is multiplied, so we can use the associative and distributive properties of multiplication, and we can say that this is the same as, since everything's on the same priority, we're okay to say 9 times 3. The brackets are only for show, they don't actually have any mathematical use because they're not really changing the order of operations here. 9 times 3 times 10 raised to the power of, and to multiply numbers with exponents, provided the bases are the same, we just add the exponents. So this is negative 4 plus 7, which is equal to 9 times 3 is 27 times 10 to the power. Well, negative 4 plus 7 is the same as 7 minus 4, which is 3. Okay, if you could imagine that if you've got a debt of, say, £4 in your bank and you pay £7 in, how much have you got left in your bank? And the answer is £3. Okay, so we've got 27 times 10 to the power 3, but as we've already discussed, we can't have 27 as the coefficient. We need to have it equal to or greater than 1 and less than 10. So we need to divide that 27 by 10, which makes the whole number 1/10 of the value that it should be. So to get the whole number back to the correct number, we need to multiply this by 10, and so 10 cubed times 10 is going to be 10 to the power 4. So this is 2.7 times 10 to the power 4, which I really should have written here. Okay, moving on to question 10. Part A says write down the value of 64 raised to the power of half. So fractional indices are roots. So in this case 64 to the power of half is the square root of 64. So this is equal to the square root of 64. And if we've memorized our square numbers, we know that 8 times 8 is equal to 64. So the answer is 8 for 1 mark. Part B says find the value of 8 over 125 to the power negative 2 over 3. So this really is testing whether we understand our indices and whether we've memorized our square and cube numbers, because we really need that on a non-calculator paper. So let's start off by getting rid of the negative index. A negative index is a reciprocal, and to find the reciprocal of a fraction we just flip the fraction over, so the denominator becomes a numerator and vice versa. So this is equal to 125 divided by 8 all to the power of positive 2 over 3. Now again, with our fractional indices, this is the same as 2 times 1/3, and 1/3 is the cube root, and raised to the power 2 is squared. So this is actually the cube root of 125 over 8 all squared. So let's take the cube root first, because these are very nice cube numbers that are easy to cube root in our heads, because we've memorized our cube numbers. Hopefully we've memorized our cube numbers. And we know that the cube root of 125 is 5. So that's 5 over, and the cube root of 8 is 2. It really does pay to memorize your cube numbers, at least up to 10 times 10 times 10 equals 1,000. And also to memorize your square numbers, at least up to 10 times 10 equals 100, but preferably up to 12 times 12 equals 144. So we've got 5 over 2 raised to the power 2, because we've dealt with the over 3 now. And to square 5 over 2, we just square the numerator and square the denominator. Just as to cube root the fraction, we cube root the numerator and we cube root the denominator. So 5 over 2 squared is equal to 5 times 5 is 25, divided by 2 times 2 is 4. So our answer is 25 over 4. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.